it's Mo. It is April 17th, and it is time to start my March TBR Spin book. So I am behind on TBR Spin books. I'm 2 months behind if we're counting it like that, which we are. So if you don't know, TBR Spin is a super fun booktube game where you pick 12 books at the start of the year, and then Jill at the Book Bully or Sarah at Freshly Read Books, the two hosts, spin a wheel. There's prompts on the wheel, and those prompts lead you to pick a book off your stack. The idea is to pick books off your TBR. That can be your physical TBR, or it can be your audio TBR, or it could be your library TBR, or whatever it is, but the idea is to get down your TBR throughout the year by following these prompts and picking a book. In January, we have 12 books. In February, we have 11 books, etc., etc. The prompts are all different, and this year they're very moody and open to interpretation. So you're very much able to cater the prompts to your stack of books and pick from your stack of books, but sometimes you are asked to swap out a book, or sometimes if the prompt doesn't fit, you can swap out a book. And you can start this game anytime. You can start with 12 books now and go back and watch the January prompt, I think, which was on Sarah's channel, or you can pick 8 books and watch the prompt at the end of this video. I always vlog all my TBR Spin books, and then at the end of each video, when I'm finished with the book from the prior month, I watch the next month's video. So in this video, because I'm behind, I'm still on the March prompt. The March prompt was a book that will heal you. And again, these prompts are very open. They're very moldable to what you want. So I picked The Ones We're Meant to Find by Joan He, although I think it's actually pronounced like Joan Who, because I am reading this on audio, so I did hear it pronounced a different way. But anyway, I picked this book as a book that will heal me because this is a book that has been on my TBR since before 2022, but I didn't get until 2022. I've had it on my RAB spreadsheet since 2022, and since then I've put it on many, many, many TBR lists and many piles of possibility, and I've never gotten to it, and it feels like one of those books that I have failed to read over the years. So I think it will heal that feeling of failure if I read this book now. This is a YA book, and it's about two sisters, one of whom is stranded and the other of who is living in this futuristic city with all this global climate catastrophe going on. And this book is often considered a climate fiction, a cli-fi book. I started this a couple of days ago, but I forgot that I was supposed to be vlogging it, so I haven't talked about it until now, and I'm actually already 75% of the way through the book. One of the reasons that I'm reading this quite quickly is because I am reading it on audio. I took it to my office job yesterday, and I read 4 hours of it at my office while I was doing work. The other reason is that until I took it to work, I wasn't sure I was actually going to continue with it. I thought that this might be a DNF. So I was like, well, let me power through, let me get through some of the reveals and see if I still want to read it. And now I'm at 75%, and I'm definitely going to finish it. Like I said, this book is about two sisters, K and C, and how they were very close, but they also had a lot of differences. The way their minds work are very different. The way their emotions work are very different. The way their thought processes work are very different. So although they had a very tight bond, they didn't necessarily always understand each other. In the beginning of this book, we find out that C has been stranded on an island, that K has been looking for her, that C has been trying to return to K. Why that is, and how those sisters are going about trying to find each other is the majority of this book. So we do go back and forth between the two sisters, and it is chapter to chapter, but some of the chapters are longer. I didn't realize this was a signed copy. That's cool. I love the end papers. I think they're so beautiful. And the cover obviously is gorgeous. I love the font. I like the whole thing. But as I was saying, C's chapters are in marking off of time, and K's chapters are regular chapter numbers, which is interesting. You don't get that experience from reading the audiobook, unfortunately, so I am happy that I have a physical copy as well. So the more we learn about Kay and C, the more we learn about their relationship, the more we learn about their relationship with other people, the more we learn about their different personalities, and the more we see them both fighting separate fights, but to be together. And then, kind of in the second third of this book, things definitely change and we are revealed more about the island, more about their relationship, more about what is actually going on. And the whole time we're getting snippets of why the world is now the way it is. So this is a climate ravaged world. The sea is poisoned. The people live in air cities, and there's always threat of contamination from outside the cities. There's obviously a huge wealth discrepancy. There's obviously a huge discrepancy of the people who live outside and the people who live inside, and just various other things. So we're learning about the world as we learn about these sisters. And like I said, at that 2/3 mark now, things are changing, and in this last quarter, I think we're going to kind of find out what happens to the sisters, how they eventually, or if they eventually come back together, and just more about their relationship going forward, whether that relationship is going to continue as it was or whether it is going to totally change. I do think that this book is a little YA, a little angsty, a little repetitive, a little boy crazy, and that was bothering me at the beginning, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to continue with it. It's very slow burn, the story in general. It's very repetitive, but I think that there is like kind of a excuse for that or a reason for that in the book. So once I kind of got into the audiobook and once I put aside like what I wanted the book to be, I've been enjoying the book a lot more. I don't think it's like an amazing book. I don't think it's like an amazingly written book. I don't think it's even the best YA book, but I think it is bringing up interesting topics and interesting ideas, and I definitely do plan on finishing it. So when I finish it, I will get back to you and let you know my final thoughts, and then we can watch the April video which I should have already been reading April's book, but like I said, I'm behind. So we'll watch the April video at the end of this, and we will pick our next book for TBR Spin, and maybe, because it is still the 17th of April, I can actually read that book before the end of April and get back on track with my blog posting and with my reading. Let me know if you've ever read The Ones We're Meant to Find. Let me know what you thought of it. It definitely was a book that most people didn't like, so I'd be interested to hear what people who watch this channel, what my friends think of this book if they've read it, or what they didn't like about it if they didn't enjoy it. Have finished The Ones We're Meant to Find last week, actually, so it's been a little while since I finished this. I enjoyed this book. I think I mentioned before that one of the reasons that it took me a long time to update you was because I wasn't sure where I was falling on if I was going to DNF this book or not. So I am glad that I didn't DNF it. I think there was a lot going on in this book, and I think a lot of it was really interesting, but I don't think it all fit together well. Like, I don't think this is a great book. Did I like reading it? Yes. Am I glad I read it? Yes. Am I looking forward to something else that Joan, I think it's Joan He, writes next? Yes. I think this is definitely an interesting book with lots of interesting moving pieces. You have your sisters and the parts that are told on the jacket of the book. You have the cli-fi elements, sci-fi elements. This is a future time where climate change has ruined the planet to a large degree, and where people's actions are the reason for that, as in our own world. But it's such a future time, so you have that. You have wealth discrepancy and health discrepancy because of those factors. You have robots and sentient bot kind of beings that are around, and then you also have a lot of other stories. I think they are technically spoilers, but I also think that maybe if more people realized how many things were going on in this book, they would like this book more, because they wouldn't just be wanting the story that the synopsis tells you. They would know that there was a lot more. I also think that for this long book, 350 some pages or whatever it was, and for all the different things that are going up, it's not really tied up well. It's a little bit of an ambiguous ending. I mean, a little bit. I think you could probably guess where it's going, and you want to lean one way towards where it's going, but it's not like a definitive ending where something happens. So I think people probably really didn't like that and were disappointed that that's how this book ended. But again, I think there were a lot of interesting concepts that are topical now. This book was written in 2017, I think. Totally wrong. This book was written in 2021, so not too long ago, but I think the topics now are even more relevant. The AI aspect of this book is very relevant. The health concerns from climate change and climate change in general is very relevant. So, I mean, I think it's really interesting. Do I think it was great? No. Did I enjoy it? Yes. So if you're interested in all those things and you want a book to make you think about those things, and you want a book that talks about those things but maybe doesn't conclude any of those things or doesn't have a firm conclusion to any of its desperate parts, then I would say go ahead and read this. But if you're looking for a truly linear story with a firm ending, or if you are looking for a thesis on any of the topics herein, like sister relationships, like AI relationships, like climate change, like wealth discrepancy, or any of those things, this probably isn't the book for you. But if you just want a vibey time, I would definitely go for it. The ones we were meant to find was my March pick, and now it is time to watch the April spin. So it is April 21st. So it is possible that I could theoretically get a book for April, read my April book before the end of April, and be back on track with TBR Spin books. I definitely feel like I just did this because I just basically finished my February book, and I basically just filmed my February video. First we have Sorrowland by River Solomon, Her Body and Other Parties by Carmen Maria Machado, The Dead Take the A Train by Cassandra Khaw and Richard Kadri, The Stationery Shop by Marjan Kamali, The Spirit of Science Fiction by Roberto Bolaño, How to Love a Jamaican by Alexis Arthurs, The Office of Historical Corrections by Danielle Evans, Build Your House Around My Body by Violet Coopersmith, and Split Tooth by Tanya Tagaq. So many of these are short story collections. I read a short story collection in February, and I specifically picked a lot of short story collections for this year's spin because I have a lot that I want to get through, and they're difficult for me to get through. But there are a couple of books that I would maybe particularly like to get in this spin. The spin this month is on Jill's channel, so let's watch that video. Does not help me very much at all this month, but the prompt is a book that, what was it? A book that a friend has been bullying you to read. I definitely don't have a book on my stack that someone has been bullying me to read. I definitely don't have a lot of people telling me I should read specific books. Okay, hold on. I do have some ideas. Oh, I just thought of another idea. Okay, so I don't have a book that a friend has been bullying me to read per se, but some ideas that I have, some ideas not on my spin list that I have are Rosemary's Baby. I recently just found a copy of this in my basement box books, and this is one that my husband says I will really like, so this is a possibility to get swapped out for something on my spin list. I also have Invisible Cities by Italio Calvino. This is a book that I borrowed from my friend Isaac. Oh, it has $1 in it. This is one that no one is bullying me to read, but I do want to get back to him since I did borrow it over a year ago. So this is a definite possibility. The only book that actually kind of fits this prompt is, I don't have a copy of it on me right now, but I do own a copy of it, and that is The House of the Spirits by Isabel Allende. Now, Isabella Allende. House of the Spirits is my my best friend's favorite book, her all-time favorite book, and I do own a copy of it that she got me. Since my husband and I have been taking Spanish class, we have been talking about this book in class some, and we have been toying with the idea of reading it. Let me look it up. Is a translated work, and the Italo Calvino is a translated work as well, and I'm definitely trying to reach my translated goal this year, which is 25%. So I am definitely looking for translated books to read. I mean, The House of Spirits is going to be like 600 pages or something, and it's like a family epic. It's like not something that I desperately want to read. This is like vignettes, and this seems like a super fun book. I would totally read Rosemary's Baby if it was May, because I would love to read this for Horror Mayhem, but I don't think I want to read it right now. As far as my stack goes, the book that I really want to read in April is Sorrowland by Rivers Solomon, because it is Trans Girl April readathon this month, so I think this would be a really good one to read. And I could say that I've been bullying myself to read it, because this is one that I keep putting off and I've been wanting to read for a really long time. So I'm like kind of torn between Sorrowland, which is on my stack, Invisible Cities, and The House of the Spirits. I'm worried, I'm scared that I'm going to start The House of the Spirits and I'm not going to like it, and I'm going to DNF it, and I just know that'll be sad because I would love to love that book the way my BFF loves that book. So I think it's going to come down between these two. I don't know, let me watch the rest of Jill's video and see if there's anything, any addendums or add-ons that I might have missed, and see if anything changes with that. Okay, so there was nothing else in the video, and I'm still stuck between these two. I think what I'm going to do is I am going to choose Invisible Cities by Italo Calvino. I don't know why. This book is just, it's interesting to me. It's calling to me. It seems like a good spring read, and it is a translated work. This was translated from the Italian by William Weaver. It's short, it's vignette-y. I don't know. This just seems right, even though this is the book that I've been trying to read all month. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to take this book off my spin list, because I'm going to have to swap out a book anyway, and then that will like free it up, even though it was never not free for me to read, and maybe I will read this one on audio as well. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. For my April pick for the TBR Spin, I am picking Invisible Cities by Italo Calvino, and the book that I'm swapping out for that one is Sorrowland by Rivers Solomon. So that was my March book and my April spin, and now we are kind of on track. Definitely make sure you check out both Jill and Sarah. Let me know if you're participating. Let me know what you're reading for it. Don't forget, it's never too late to start. And let me know if you've read any Italo Calvino. I've read one book by him and I did really enjoy it. Let me know your thoughts on his work if you've read it. Thanks so much for joining me today, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!